Okay, I'm back. So I could be wrong about this, but so I rebooted completely because this first attempt at this stream was having lots of problems. Something I noticed is I changed a setting in OBS. There's like this checkbox you can click where basically if you're streaming a game that has an anti-cheat system, there's a checkbox you have to check in the streaming software that says use this specific setting so it'll work with the game I'm playing that has anti-cheat software. And I just turned that on and all of a sudden Microsoft Flight Sim loaded way faster. Like it was in the middle of loading and I turned that setting on in OBS. It's almost like it was messing with the loading of Microsoft Flight Sim. Because as soon as I enabled it, it just loaded very fast. So I'm not really sure. I don't know. I don't know if that's it. Maybe it's like a placebo effect. But whatever. It seems okay right now. So I did also remove a bunch of plugins. So the only plugin I'm running now is the Honeycomb throttle quadrant plugin. And we'll see how this goes. I'll try again one more flight to start and see if it works for us. All right, so let's try this again. LFGI. So we have two legs here. Looks like all in France. LFGI is first, and then we go to LFLK. All right, 40 minutes if we take the Skyhawk 172. Make sure my mic's working. All right, yes, it does. Okay, cool. And alrighty, so 6,700 feet, highest obstacle. It's for props only, or single engine pistons only. 2,400 feet, 2,800 feet asphalt, and then the final one is only 1,300 feet. So we need to pick up in two spots and then drop them both off in one location. So, all right, let's give this a shot. And what do I want to fly? I would like to try some VOR to VOR stuff. So I had Sky Vector up. Let me bring Sky Vector back up. And let's put in these waypoints again. LFLK. All right, so over on Sky Vector, here are those two airports. No routes available. And here's a VOR right over here. Oh, but I actually can't see any of the info. So there's a VOR right here. Hassery 116.6. It doesn't have it as a waypoint though, so that's not as helpful. So I can't click it here to draw. Oh, there we go. If I right click. Oh, there we go. Nice. So if I did want to use the VOR, I could use VOR and DME. Let's see, this is VOR DME. It has the box around it. So we could go here. That's 114 from the VOR up to there. So 114 reciprocal radial. Or we would just want to be on the needle. Yeah, 114. So we'd want to be on that at 16 miles. And that's how we would know we'd be at this airport. So I'm going to give that a shot. And I'm going to use the steam gauge Skyhawk. I haven't flown this one for a while, so let's do the steam gauge. Okay, everything is live except for the time. I need to give us some sun here. Runway 20. Man, I'd never had it fail that bad on the stream before, so sorry about that again, guys. All right, so we should be able to take off and fly. Let's see, is there another VOR we can fly outbound on? So here would be we're doing VOR only. We have this VOR right next to us. So I could add this to the plan. The Dijon VOR. Oops, and I need to put that as our second waypoint. There we go, like that. So what we could do if we want to go VOR to VOR, we're taking off from here in the top left. This is LFGI. And then we could fly to this. We don't really need to. We could just fly like a southeast heading and tune into this. But we see here we have the 150 outbound radial to get to this next VOR down here.
India traffic Cessna November 21 Kilo India Papa taking off runway 20 departure.
But we don't actually need this either. I mean, we need this one once we get closer. So what we can do is, let's see, it's 58 minutes. So if we just fly outbound on this radial right here, the one, does it say 158? It's really small for me too. So the 158 radial from this airport will get us heading in the right direction. So what we can do is tune into the Dijon VOR. That's 111.45. So let's do that down here. So nav 1 down here, we push the knob. We want 111.45. Okay, and activate that. And there it is, DJL. So we have the identification right there. DJL corresponds to the VOR code right here, DJL 111.45. So what we want to do is fly outbound on the 158 radial. So we'll dial, because that's going to be an outbound radial, we're going to dial that radial in as 158. So we do that up here on our OBS knob. So I'm going to rotate this, turn us over to 158. So that's going to be right down here. So it's going to take forever to spin this thing all the way around to 158. We'll get there eventually. So if we were flying the difference between the inbound and outbound radial is like physically, if you think of this as these as physical things, like this magenta line, this radial here, versus this one right here. So we want to fly physically like on this little highway in the sky, the radial. We want to fly outbound on that radial. So if we dial in the 158, that'll draw a line. Basically, if you imagine this magenta line extended and just keep going the same direction all the way up here, straight through the center of the VOR, that would be that 158 radial on the south side of it. But when it's on the north side, it would be that reciprocal radial. So we could decide to fly to the VOR. If we did that, we would actually put the radial we're flying to at the bottom of the CDI right here, not the top. So because we're setting it up to fly from, we're not going to actually fly this magenta line. We're actually going to fly this extended magenta line, this 158 radial. So we're going to fly over this way and intercept it going this direction. So it looks something more like, let's see if I just add the GPS here and take this out. We're basically going to fly this. We're going to put in that 158 radial all the way through just because it's so close. So we're just going to fly over to this and then fly straight through on the 158 radial. And that 158 leads us all the way down to our destination airport. But once we get closer, we're going to use a second VOR once we get closer. So there's a VOR over here on the right and then one to the south as well. So then we'll want to get a 2 heading on that once we get closer, but we'll just do this one for now. So what I'm doing is I'm typing in the to and from. Oh, I don't have it up. Oops. LFGI to LFLK. Sorry, let me do that again. Dude, I'm so bad about that. I have to hit a button on the little stream deck to get this to show up correctly. Anyway, LFGI. So let me start over. LFGI to LFLK. And let me erase the route. So this is what we want to fly from this point here to this point down here. So I'm going to do it with VORs this time because I always use GPS. So our closest VOR on departure is this one right here. This is Dijon. So I already tuned that in. You can see the frequency 111.45. So what I did in the sim is I tuned in 111.45. So right here we have 111.45 tuned in on our nav1 radio. And it's in range, and we can see right here it's already identified the VOR for us, DJL. So it's actually decoding the Morse code. We can listen to the Morse code by turning on nav1. So it's decoding that. That's the dots and dashes. And we actually see those dots and dashes over here on the right side. They're pretty small for you guys, but right over here, there's little dots and dashes that spell out DJL. So that's how we identify it. So what we want to do is use that VOR and say, all right, using this VOR as our navigation aid, how do we fly directly to the airport we're going to? So to figure that out here on SkyVector, I'm just going to drop this line on the VOR to make a point. And what it shows us there is 158 degrees. So a heading of 158 or a course of 158. It's calculated that for us. That's the course we want to fly from the VOR outbound to get to the airport we're going to. So that's step one of our flight. We'll do a second VOR once we get closer. So we just need 158 as our outbound. So when we're doing an outbound radio like this from the VOR, we put that at the top of the CDI right here. So I'm going to keep turning this until we get to 158. So this is 155 right there. So I'm going to click it a few more times. So that's roughly 158. And then I can take this and I want to switch from GPS over to VLOC mode, which is VOR or localizer mode. So if I have it on GPS, that's using our GPS flight plan. If I switch to VLOC, it's using the radial we dialed in. So we're not on that radial. That radial is toward the east, right? The needle is pulled towards the east side. See where it says east here? So that's how we know it's towards the east, because it's pulling towards the east. It's towards the north and the east is where that line is. So we know that's true because of this map here. It's definitely to the east of us. And it's actually to the northeast because if this line is drawn all the way through the VOR, this is that radial extended through the VOR. So that course is actually to the northeast of us, where that magenta line is right here. So that's why it's northeast. But anyway, we're going to fly towards that course and then get on that course and just fly on that magenta line right there. So that's our first step. We could have the autopilot do it as well, since this is set in VLOC mode. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Hold on, let me set something up really quickly. I'm gonna set up an automatic scene switch thing. Sorry. I can set it up so it'll automatically switch to that every time I do. There, let's see if this works. All right, so I go to the sim. Now I go back. Okay, here we go. Shit, sorry guys. I'm a noob. So what I was saying was, so what we're doing is we're flying to the northeast. So what I was saying is in the sim, see how on our CDI here, the needle's pulled far to this side, right? And where that needle is showing is based on the course or the radial we're trying to fly to. So that physical thing on the VOR, this magenta line right here, that's the 158 radial. Think of it as like a physical highway in the air, like going through the air itself. So we want to get to that point. And I said that it's to the northeast, right? So the needle is over here towards the east side, the east marker right here. So it's to the east. Now it looks to us from here that it's to the southeast, right? The VOR is to the southeast. But if I extend this magenta line, that radial that we're going to be flying on, right here, the course itself, if you extend that through, is to the northeast of us. So that's why it's mostly to the east and the north on the CDI here, is because it's actually that line drawn all the way through the VOR. So that's the course we're looking at, is this giant line. That's the one we're set up for. So if we want to get to that, we need to fly to the east and to the north a little to get to it. We're just mainly going to fly to the east until we intercept it. But that's why it's showing to the east here, even though in the north, that's where the course is, even though the VOR itself is southeast. I hope that makes sense. This long extended magenta line here is the course that we're going to fly to. So we're just going to fly to the east to intercept it, and then we'll be flying out on that 158 radial. So I'm going to cancel that point if I can. How do I get rid of this point? I don't want to plan anything. There we go. All right, so anyway, from this VOR, we're going to fly the 158 radial outbound, and that'll put us right on track with the airport we're going to. But once we get closer, we're going to use one of these other VORs, like this one right here to the right, because we want another point of reference. Just in case we lose the signal of the current VOR, we can tune into this one, and then what we would want to find is the radial between the airport here and this VOR over here instead. So if I draw this through and plan to this VOR, SkyVector will calculate this for me as well, and it tells us that the outbound radial would be 273. So what we could do is tune that one in, and then we would know when we cross over that. We're basically using the intersection. So we'll stay on the current heading, and we want to intercept that to find the airport. But I mean, I think we'll probably be good with just the first one, but we'll see what happens to the signal as we get closer. Because mattering terrain and stuff, we may not actually have that. So anyway, we're going to fly the 158. So I have that dialed in. So instead of GPS, we're going to be using the VOR for our navigation. Hey, Dragon. I feel like I haven't thought about explaining that for so long, so it's running it all through my brain as well. All right, so we're in the 172, the Skyhawk that has the non-G1000 as the steam gauge version. I haven't flown this thing for a while. Dude, see that? It's been doing that for every plane I've flown ever since this update. I don't know what's going on with the takeoffs. Every time I pull up, it like jerks really hard to the side, no matter where I am in the world, no matter what plane I'm flying. Seems like maybe we have some crazy winds. Anyway, I'm just gonna turn us out to the east now. So we can see the line right here on our CDI, that's the course. So we're gonna fly out to that course. So I'm gonna turn to, so the heading is 158, so I need to turn to one of the headings on this side. So somewhere between 060 and 158 is where I need to head to intercept that. So I'm just past 158, so we're still turning to the left. So now because we're aiming left of 158, you can see that here on the map, we're headed towards where that course is. Yeah, maybe it's just maybe there's crazy wind here or something right now too, and that's why it's happening. Things are good, Dragon, just chilling. Sunday. I had some problems. I tried to start the stream first. I did one flight and then it just kind of went to hell. There was something like majorly wrong with the stream, and I think I narrowed it down to like an OBS setting. But something changed since the last patch, and it was not very happy. See if we can turn some of these panel lights on. There we go. All right, so we're headed towards this line right here. So as long as we're to the left of 150, so 158, roughly 16. 16 is over here, so we're headed to the left of that. We're at about like 45 or so degrees to the left of that, so that needle will slowly come in as we get towards that course. Yeah, there was something majorly wrong with the sim. All right, so you see this line turning in. It's coming in pretty quickly, so I'm going to start turning to the right now. So this line right here on the CDI is representing that line I drew on the map, that magenta line. That's the course that we're flying on, which is the 158 radial of that VOR to our southeast. Now, as soon as that gets to the middle, I basically want to be on the heading 158, roughly 160, when it gets to the middle. So I need to turn to the right now. So it's probably it might overshoot the center line there because I didn't turn soon enough. But now we're turning to the right on a heading of 158 to track that radial. So I'm going to turn a little right of 158 to pull it to the right a little bit. So we just compare these two instruments here. So we can just call it 160. You know, it's 158, so it's close enough. So because I'm heading a little bit to the right of 158, it'll pull it in a little bit. So if we look on our VFR map here. So this is the VOR right there. And so we're basically going to be flying this direction down through it. That line right there is the direct GPS line, but we're going to follow the VOR instead. So you can see it's a little to our left now. So I basically need to play the game of keeping that needle in the center. But we have an autopilot, so we can still take advantage of autopilot. As long as you have it turned to VLOC mode here on the Garmin, it'll follow, instead of following the GPS flight plan, it'll be following our navigation 1 radio and the radio that this CDI is turned to. So if I turn on autopilot right now and switch to nav mode, then it'll track that course for us, that radial for us. And it's not using the GPS. See, it's not going to turn right and fly to that magenta line right there. It's going to fly on this radial instead. So it's turning us a little left to intercept that radial. So you see the needle come in and then it'll turn to the right. All right, and let's hold at 3,500 feet. 35. So now it's going to turn right. And you know, the autopilot obviously does a really good job of keeping us on that radial. When you do it by hand, you're just constantly, you know, looking at it. You're constantly making adjustments, especially because if there's wind. It seemed like there was some wind on takeoff. Because of the wind, it's going to be constantly blowing us off that course. So with the autopilot, it's super nice that it's, you know, it's doing all that work for us. So why the needle just freaked out right there is because we just passed over the VOR. So here, see the VORs just went under us. So the autopilot was a little confused for a second, but we just passed right over it, and now we're just going outbound again. We're still on that same radial, except now it says from here. Before, when we were getting towards it, it said to. Now it says from, because we passed over and we're going from the radial, or from the VOR on that radial we dialed in. Now what we can do, this VOR happens to be a DME, or distance measuring equipment capable VOR. So we get our distance right here on our Garmin 530 and the 430. So you see the distance says 2 miles. So now we're 2 miles from the VOR. So we know that it's 74 miles. Oh, sorry, not 74. Let me take out this waypoint. So right here, it's 64 nautical miles from this VOR to the airport we're going to. So as we're flying this, we could just wait until we're 64 miles away from this VOR. And when we're at 64 miles, the airport that we're heading to will be right under us. So that'll correspond to this. So we're right about here right now. You know, we're a couple miles from the VOR, and we dialed in the 158 radial. So this is the course it's going to fly. The autopilot is flying us on that course. And if we go and look over here, it actually says we're on the 157. So with the help of the Garmin, you know, I know that I'm 1 degree off, so I could just turn this 1 degree to the right. Now the autopilot's still on, so it'll turn us to the right. So we use that OBS knob to choose the radial we're flying on. And then we'll see if that'll update to 158 here. So the GPS is giving us that extra info. just because I was just 1 degree off roughly. So now we're 4 miles, 5 miles away. So we got a good 60 miles to go until it'll be underneath us. But the thing with VORs is that because they are radio-based navigation aids and not GPS and satellite-based, there's a good chance that we'll lose the signal from the VOR. The further and further we get away from it, you know, the less reliable the signal is. And if there's any terrain or anything like that, there's a bunch of things that can obstruct the signal. So we'll probably lose that. What's the range for VORs? I think it could be like up to 100 miles ideally, but we could basically come up with a backup plan. We should have a backup plan for if we lose this, say somewhere in here, we lose that VOR, how do we make sure that we're still going on the right course? So what we would need to do is find a next reference, a closer reference to our destination. So there is a VOR over here. So what we could do, I'm just going to clear the flight plan now. And so we're heading on that 158 VOR. That'll be fine. What we could do is figure out which, say we end up losing our VOR. We're just kind of heading in the same direction. So we're over here somewhere. Say we're at like this point. And what we want to do is find another way to get to this. So what we want is to find a course. We could find the radial that goes from this direction over to this VOR. So draw a line from this airport through this from this VOR right over here through our destination airport. So we'll find another measurement here. So we could say, I'll just delete these lines. So we're going to say it's from the destination airport instead, or from the destination VOR. So I'll put in this VOR. And then LFLK, that's our destination. So here, this is the line between our destination airport and this other VOR that's over here. So this one's only 19 miles away. So we don't have to worry as much, you know, we'll have good confidence that within 19 miles we should be, you know, within the range here. Oh, up to 200 miles? I thought it was 100, but yeah, 200 sounds very ideal. But yeah, cool. I mean, so in theory, I mean, if there's not much terrain between us and there, I didn't start the mission, did I? I'm such an idiot. I do this every time. I didn't even start the mission. Whatever, we're still flying the flight. It's fine. So yeah, let's see, the biggest obstacle, so 6,700 feet. I think that's from the second leg though, not the first leg. Like this is very flat right here. And so all these mountains are over here to our right. So where we're coming from down here, it looks like 4,800. We might get about 4,800 feet, 4,500 feet. So we should go up a little bit more. We can go up to like 5,500. But yeah, if the terrain is going to obscure that VOR from the departure, then it'll be good to have a backup VOR when we get there. Oh, and I'm back in roll mode by accident. I was in basically when you change the heading here on the CDI, this guy, I changed the heading. That kicked the autopilot back to its default mode, which is roll hold mode. So for us, that was just holding our wings level because we weren't in a bank or anything. So we were off just slightly because I had to switch it back to navigation mode. So I didn't notice that when I made that change. But, you know, the needle was still pretty close to the middle, so we aren't off course too much. All right, so we're going to climb up to 5,500 feet. So if we do lose this, we can use this VOR as our backup. So down here, we have this radial from this backup VOR. So if we lose it somehow, we're coming down here and we lose that first VOR because there's some mountains, some terrain here. what we can do is basically find this magenta line. So I'll just extend this just to demonstrate. This line goes on, you know, forever, as far as we'll be able to get signal for this VOR. So I'm just illustrating, like, this is our backup that we can go in. So what we can do as a backup is get on this radial, which would be the 273. But in our case, it would be the reciprocal radial because we're going to be heading east. So we're not heading away from the VOR, we're heading towards it. So you do the reciprocal radial, so we want to aim this way to the east. So instead of the 273, it would be the 093, right? 73 minus 180 is the 093 radial. So we would dial in 093. No, I'm not a real life pilot. I'm a sim dork, but I keep thinking about taking the Discovery flight. My partner is a pilot. She has her PPL and she's working on her instrument. So I've been learning flight sim for the last year or so to just get to know what she's doing. So I'm just, yeah, I ask her a ton of questions. Yeah, Jose, I bumped it up just for the sake of time. I could use the sim acceleration. We're climbing up to 2,000 feet higher now. So we're going up to 5,500. So, but I generally, when I'm doing the streams and stuff, I'll just leave it maxed out, even though realistically you wouldn't, just for the sake of time. But what I should do is pull it back to more of a cruise RPM. I could do that, go to like 23 or 2,400, and then use the flight sim acceleration. But I don't know why I don't use the acceleration that much. I'm just not used to it, I guess. Feels a little weird. But it would definitely save, clearly it would save us some time. Anyway, so we're on the 158 radial here. It looks like we're on 159. So it was on the 157 before, and then here it was on the one. I switched it 1 degree on the OBS knob here to try to get it to 158, but we're on the 159. I don't know if I switch it back again. If I click one, whoops, wrong direction. One time, we'll see. It looks like we're just like, we can't get exactly on the 158. But I'm letting the autopilot do the work here to keep us on that. We can hand fly it. It's just a little annoying with a lot of wind, so let the autopilot do the work because the wind will be blowing us off course consistently. Yeah, Jose's right though. I shouldn't be redlining the engine. When we're climbing, it's cool. I can bump it while we're climbing. We have another 500 feet to go, but once we get up there, yeah, we should. In real life, even though I'm not a real life pilot, I know in real life you need to treat your engine really well to make it last as long as possible, get better fuel consumption, and mattering the weather, the winds. You don't want to fly too fast when the air is not smooth. So yeah, we could pull this back to 2,400 RPMs. Get on the Discovery flight. You'll have the ability to say you beat a guy whose job it is to fly. Wait, what? I think just in playing Microsoft Flight Sim, I feel like if I did do a Discovery flight, I would want to fly a Diamond. I think I'm kind of obsessed with the Diamonds. They're really cool. I was watching some videos about all of the... whoops, I have to hit B on my keyboard really quickly to sync up the altimeter setting here and also the altimeter setting down here on our autopilot. So you hit Barrow to get to the altimeter setting here as well. So need to keep those in sync. So, but I just hit B on the keyboard. That'll sync them up automatically. That's why we weren't leveling off at 5,500 feet exactly. So now that'll work. I worded that poorly. You'll wind up flying before I do, and my job is to fly. Yeah, but yeah. I mean, me flying, but you know, flying is the wrong word, right? Like the Discovery pilot, the actual pilot would do all the work. It's unlikely that I would invest, especially in California, like in Southern California. It's expensive in this area. It would cost a lot of money to get my pilot's license. I don't think I'm ready for investing in that. But yeah, I need to do a discovery flight at some point for sure. All right, so now we're at 5,500 feet. So I can pull back on the engine speed now. I'll just keep it kind of high though. I'll leave it at 2,500. So we can see here we're at 25. We're 25 miles away from the DJL VOR. So that's the one we started at up to the north. So this is our departure airport. Or sorry, this right here, the magenta one was our departure airport. No, sorry, I'm wrong on both those. This was our departure airport right here, Dijon. This is the VOR we went through. So if I plug all that in again, we went from here to this VOR. So this is the VOR we're flying from. And let me remove this point as well. So this is our route right now. So we're still flying this. We're on the 158 radial from this VOR right here. And when we get to 58, is it 58 miles? Sorry, 64 miles. That's the distance between that VOR and our destination airport. So we're at 26 miles using the DME here. Distance is 26, so when that gets up to that 64, then we should be right over the airport. And if we lose the VOR for some reason because of terrain or distance, then we can tune into that next VOR. So our backup is this one right down here to the east of the airport we're going to. So we would dial in that 093 radial that we calculated earlier, and that'll give us that magenta line basically drawn from that VOR through this airport, and then we can get onto that route onto that course if we lose our way. So yeah, we're just basically drawing from a VOR through the airport that we want to get to, and that's figuring out what the course would be as we're flying through a lightning storm. I haven't done this. I don't think I've used VORs like since I made that one VOR video. So this is like a refresher for me as well. And I didn't lean the mixture yet, so let's do that. Watch for the maximum RPMs. They're dropping, so you put it back up. So my mixture's out. I should have done that once we got over like 3,000 feet or so, but pulled that out a little bit. If you guys have never leaned the mixture before, so when it's full, you want it full for takeoff and landing, but once you get over, I think it's different for every plane, but 3,000, 5,000, like 3,000 feet or so, you'll start leaning it. So you just pull it out like this and watch the RPMs. And you want to maximize the RPMs by pulling the mixture out. So as I pull this out and you're watching this needle, we'll watch the needle go up. So it's going up a little, it's going up a little. Now it started going down, so I just push it back in a little bit. So you want to maximize the RPMs. So it looks about as high as I can get. It's around 25. And if you don't do that, then the engine performs roughly and poorly, not fuel efficient. You're giving it too much fuel, more fuel than it needs with this engine. And that's why I like the simplicity of flying like the Diamond and stuff, because they're fuel injected. The mixture is controlled by a computer. It just gives it as much fuel as it needs at any moment and calculates all that. I don't know technically how it works per se, but I know that when you have a fuel injected engine, you don't control the mixture manually. All right, so we're at 5,500 and 31 miles. Let me do a little acceleration here. I'm gonna do a 2x acceleration so I don't have to sit here in real time. So you can see the magenta line is the direct route from one to the other, but we're taking a route to the slightly to the east of that drawn line because we did our VOR. We're doing it through the VOR based off this VOR, so it's going to be slightly offset to the right of that direct route. And then mattering the wind, we're probably crabbed into the wind a little bit, facing a little bit more to the west because of the wind that we have right now. And the autopilot's taking care of that for us and keeping us on the same course. Yeah, I think, I don't know. I feel like I want to do a discovery flight, but I haven't like made up my mind to do it yet. I feel like I need to. Double rainbow. Yes. Realize we haven't talked to the controller either, but I just kind of ignoring them. Kind of nice to not have the ATC going the entire time. Not realistic at all, especially flying in IFR conditions. Yeah, this is fun. I haven't flown with the VORs for a while. What is that number again? 63? 64. 64 miles. And then let's see what info we have here. For this airport, elevation 1755. Oh, you turned the voice off? Yeah, it gets really repetitive, right? I hope that they improve it. I remember when the sim launched in August, they only had one voice, and they added 2 more voices. So I think they only had a male voice. Now they have 2 male voices and 1 female voice, I think. And I hope they add a lot more. It would be really cool if they had like a dozen voices or 20 voices. Like I'm sure they're thinking about it. I hope they do it. It would be really cool. And the ATZ voices are fine. They just they're so much better than like X-Plane's extremely robotic sounding ATC voice. So I appreciate that they're better quality than that, but yeah, we'll see. I hope they do more in the future. More voices. The variety would be great. Hey Gavin, what's up? Oh, sorry, you're not Gavin, you're Gavin's friend. You should do a discovery flight. I did mine 2 weeks ago for my birthday and I'm hooked. I should have. I just had a birthday. I had a birthday a little more than 2 weeks ago as well. 2 weeks ago and 1 day. So happy birthday to you too, man. Yeah, I did not do one on my birthday, but I probably should have. Dude, this weather is insane. Still having to focus on what I'm doing. I can't pay attention to bot yet. Oh, you can't. Oh, to the ATC. Yeah. All right, we are in super IMC. I actually don't know what the terrain is like in front of us. I looked briefly over here. We're gonna like slam into a mountain. I'm actually surprised how like there isn't that much data on this VFR map. We're in France right now. And I'm used to seeing the ones in the US, like this VFR map has so many points shown. Right here, these are airspace markings, not terrain markings. So that's the flight levels for that airspace right there between 75 and 85. So we're under that shelf, right? I'm not really trying to follow the airspaces per se, so, but we're at 5,500, so we're underneath all of these until we get, actually we'll be landing there, so we'll be fine. But the only terrain I see marked is over here to the east is 6,600 feet right here for these mountains. And the airport's at about 1,700 feet. So there's no, like there's this, but there are no markings here for how tall this is, right? That says 2,000 at the base, but I don't know how tall these mountains are right here. And we can't see anything. So maybe we should go up. Probably be smart to go up to 75 instead. All right, we're gonna go up to 75. We don't have that much longer though. What are we at? We're at 50 miles. Actually, we're gonna have to start descending soon. We're at 50 miles and 63 miles, so we're only 13 miles away from the airport. Our ground speed, we usually descend at like 500 feet per minute. And ETE here, it says, oh, I'm in time acceleration, so I'll turn that off. So 8 minutes and 24 seconds. I'm actually just gonna level us off here because we should start descending soon. What's our outside air temperature? 9 degrees. We don't really need pitot heat. This is gnarly. I didn't think we'd fly into this, but it makes the stream more fun. So here we go. So we are 11 miles out. We need to drop about 4,000 feet. So let's see, the airport is at 1,700 feet, so call it 2,700 feet for our pattern. So we'll go down to 2,700 feet. And we can't see anything, so... And the terrain info is not that great. Merge out of the clouds of the mountain right in front of you. Yeah, could happen. All right, so we're descending down to 2,700 feet. So that should be roughly our pattern altitude. We could just say 28 would be a little better. 2,750. And then let's see, we have let's see, there are 4 runways. Yeah, I'm just looking at the runways here. Onyanax Arbent Airport. I don't know anything about these airports. They're in France. I'm just flying these random missions from Skypark. Now let's tune into approach, and that's interesting. We can't actually request an IFR. I wonder why we can't do an IFR request right now. We can only do flight following.
Leon approach Cessna November 21 Kilo India Papa is type Cessna Skyhawk.
Usually it lets you, as long as you have a departure and an arrival airport in your flight plan, GPS flight plan, it usually gives you the option of doing a IFR clearance.
Squawk 1743.
1743.
60 Kilo India Papa radar contact 8 miles west of Lima Foxtrot 675,500 feet. Altimeter 29er decimal 78.
All right, I hit beta update 29er 78. Pull out a little more power. It's for our descent. So we're at 5,300 feet. Oh, whoops. Yes. How to reply? Dude, this weather sucks. This is just fine. All right, it's getting warmer to 11 degrees Celsius. Don't have to worry about our airspeed indicator going out or anything like that. All right, 2,800 feet is our target. We're at 5,000. Autopilot's holding us on that radial we dialed in before. And so you can see it's putting us right on course, so that radial calculation was good. See, we didn't use GPS, we just used that one VOR instead. But it's nice to have the GPS backup. I mean, if we did this in the Cessna 152 or something like that, we wouldn't have the GPS at all. But love it as a backup. We don't get wind information with this at all, right? I think on the mod, there's a good mod for the GNS 530 and 430. And on that one, I believe you get wind information on the mod, which is cool. All right, ETE 3 minutes. We're at 4,500 feet, 500 feet per minute. So we actually need to go down faster. We go down a little bit faster. Should have started the descent earlier, but either way, I mean, we need to get a visual of this thing, so see how this goes. We'll have to fly around for a bit. What's the sticker below the smoking prohibited thing? Oh, these are, I think they're the V speeds. Oh no, this is a compass calibration. I don't really know anything about this. It looks like it's some kind of compass calibration, but I don't know why you need that. Yeah, it says for north, steer 359 instead of 360. So there's some sort of variance with the compass and what heading you're actually flying, I guess. I don't know the answer to that. Okay, the rain's gone. Oh, I can see the ground a little bit. Well, there's that mountain right there. I'm glad that we didn't descend too fast. It's like a nice cliff side right there. And I don't see the... Is that the airport right out there? I don't see any lights or anything yet. We're only 1 mile away from the airport, but we have to drop another 1,000 feet for pattern altitude. But it should be right out here in front of us. Should be very close. All right, passing 3,000 feet now. Just put our mixture back in. All right, there's the airport right in front of us. I think that's it. That could be, that must be it right here. Yeah, it's just a little bit to the right. Very small. We do a flyby and look at the windsock. I don't know anything about the wind, and I don't believe there's an ATIS there. I haven't actually looked. We should have had the weather a long time ago. Yeah, there's just some traffic, and I didn't check the weather because I'm a bad pilot. So there's the windsock blowing this direction, it looks like. So that runway over there would have been a better option. Bad boy pilot. All right, I'm gonna go around this way so we can do left traffic for that other runway. Stupid high wings. Can't see anything. How am I supposed to see the airport with this wing in my face? Spoopy weather. It is pretty spoopy. That was fun coming out of the clouds though, and not running into a mountainside. All right, so here's our runway right here. And elevation of the field is 1,700, but there's all this terrain around it, so should really swing up this way and then lose that altitude right through here. We're at 3,000. And that would be the runway 22.
Lima Foxtrot, Lima Kilo, traffic Cessna November 21 Kilo, India Papa, 2 miles northeast, 3,000 feet inbound to land, runway 22 right.
Guess we can say we're on base.
Lima Foxtrot, Lima Kilo,
I'm sure
traffic
somebody's
Cessna
here
November
listening to
21
these
Kilo, India Papa is on base, runway 22 right.
to these call outs we're making, for sure. Whoops, overshot it.
Lima Foxtrot, Lima Kilo, traffic Cessna November 21 Kilo, India Papa is on final runway 22 right to land.
Yes, yes, that was a great base. It's really pretty here though, damn. Looks awesome. Just coming in idle right now. Need to get down a bit lower. Just gliding it in. Sweet. And the windsock is totally dead now. It's like no wind at all. At least we didn't get a little crosswind. There was a little crosswind when we went around the first time. And I didn't start the mission, so we're not getting credit for this flight money-wise. I'm always a little left of center line, like every time. I always like land like I'm like a car. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be in this lane. I guess that's the wrong lane. We drive on the right side in the US. So I don't know why I land on the left side of the runway all the time. So weird. It feels so weird lining up on the center of the line. Like, even like taxiing, it's super weird. This area is really cool though. This is like it's cool being like flying in somewhere other than the States, because I feel like super unfamiliar with it, you know. Not that I know every airport I fly around in the States, but it's a little more challenging, I think. The VFR maps seem like more sparse too. Kind of cool. Maybe we can find a mission from this spot. Just park here at the fuel. This is my parking spot. That was pretty fun. I haven't flown this plane for a while either. The steam gauge one. It's pretty damn fun. The VORs are like, they're cool. It's just a lot of work. Like when you have the GPS, it's so nice to use the GPS. Just so easy. All right, so I failed to start this mission, but let's see if there's one. Maybe we can just do the second part. We can just find one nearby. Like do another one that's nearby. All right, there's a ton of them here. That was pretty fun. Let's see. This one's 92 miles. Here's a 46-mile one. It's a super short one. It says we can do a helicopter, a prop, and then when it's grayed out, that means it's like feasible. Like you could possibly do it with a turboprop. Feasible with a turboprop, but recommend a piston or a helicopter. All right, so this one's LFGM. Biggest obstacle or highest obstacle is 1600. All right, I'm gonna go back to the main menu. We'll still have similar weather because it's nearby, so hopefully we'll have some crazy clouds. I've been flying with a G1000 quite a bit. Like usually I have the glass cockpit style stuff, and it's way less scary flying IMC with that stuff because, you know, you just get the synthetic terrain. You're just like, oh, I can just see through the clouds. But with the steam gauge, it's a kind of intense. It's pretty awesome. That was fun. All right, so let's do LFGM. Still in France here to LFHS. Hotels here. Borg. Does that say Borg? The Borg? Direct GPS flight. Start. I'll just start on the runway. Keep it direct. LFHS. And let's just look up. It's going to look up this airport we're going to. Elevation 857 feet. And oh, I forgot that. I don't know why I'm actually looking there, because Skypark gives you some of that info right here. So if I click on here, I'll just start loading in the background. It gives us the elevation right here, 851 feet. And then we have an asphalt runway and a grass runway, which are parallel to each other. We'll take the asphalt runway, I guess. I guess we're delivering tassels, pom-poms, and pasties. All right, that's a little weird. Okay, let's load the pasties. Why are we... some random... Oh, it's nighttime. Oh man, maybe... Should we do a light? I don't know. Is this runway lit? It says it's lit. Maybe we should do a nighttime one. I don't know. What do you guys think? Nighttime or day? Nighttime's kind of cool, but we don't really get to appreciate the terrain when we're flying at night. This is a live time by default. And let's see, our highest obstacle, it said was what, 1,600 feet? Let's hit another ranch house. So highest obstacle, 1,600 feet. Is it, do you guys, I know in the US, you know, there's the east and west rules for what altitude to fly at in VFR. I haven't even looked this up, but do those same rules apply globally? Is that worldwide those rules are followed? So eastbound we fly at odd increments. So we would want to fly 3,500 feet in this case, if that rule still applies. So 3,500. I noticed one thing they changed is when you enable heading mode, it moves the heading bug to your current heading automatically. And I don't know if that was the case before, but I've noticed that happening. Unless that's something that my throttle does when I hit the button, like through the plugin. Not really sure. All right, let's go. We need to make a U-turn basically once we take off. Let's see again, if I lift off, let's see if it pulls really hard to one side. It's been doing that ever since the update. There's 55. Now watch it pull hard to the side. Whoa. It just kind of always does that. I think the autopilot's trying to kill me right now because I keep pulling back. Yeah, I didn't even turn the autopilot on. I don't even know why it was on. That was weird. British Airways say they do that, so I would assume it's global. Oh, okay. Good to know. Yeah, the autopilot was like trying to keep us straight and level, and I didn't even turn the autopilot on. I just hit heading mode, so I don't know why it was on. That was kind of weird. All right, let's turn on course, which is behind us. And my flaps are still down. There we go. Autopilot has so many random issues. Yeah, I've definitely had it like try to just nosedive me into the ground before. Like recently, I think when I was making the TBM video with the Navigraph maps, like the Jeppesen charts on the G3000. When I took off for that flight, I think I flew to Seattle in that video, and as soon as I took off, I was like 1,000 feet above the ground or so. And I turned the autopilot on, and it just like pulled the nose straight down towards the ground and tried to kill me. I had to I pulled the throttle and disabled the autopilot and had to like recorrect, and it was crazy. It was not fun. Yeah, it definitely tries to kill you in Microsoft Flight Sim. They'll be fixing that for like the rest of the year. Like I think all the rest of 2021, they're going to be making autopilot updates. They're going to be doing all the Garmin stuff. They're going to be implementing all the working title team mods as the go-to like stock Garmin avionics. I wonder if they had to like negotiate stuff with Garmin themselves, you know, like when they're adding features and stuff. I wonder if they have to pass it by Garmin because, you know, clearly it's branded as Garmin avionics. Like they have a partnership with them in some way. But who knows? Maybe that's why it's hard to get stuff done. It's because they have to go through all these processes they have in place, you know? You know, the performance is so much better when you don't fly a glass cockpit plane either. Just like the frames per second are just way better because of that glass cockpit refresh rate that's usually going on. All right, we're trying to get up to 3,500, even though... Oh, I did actually load it this time, right? I did. It says ready to go. So yeah, we just need to get to Borg, the Borg, 46 miles. It's 43 miles now. Hey Weezen, what's up? I've had to do the try and kill me thing when I didn't get close enough to my add waypoint. It engaged autopilot, tried to go back to the, back to the original waypoint. It tried to do the 180 thing. Been having bad luck with RNAV approaches. Yeah, I haven't really been trying RNAV approaches. Back when I was trying to make a video on the LPV RNAV approaches, they're the ILS-like ones, I was having so much trouble with them. I think I tried like 3 different ones and they were all failing. They didn't give me the vertical guidance close enough, or when I expected it, according to the approach plate. Yeah, it just seems like the RNAV approaches are still very hit or miss. Mostly misses, but yeah, I was having a lot of problems with them trying to make that video, which is why I still don't have an RNAV video. I want to make one, and I know RNAV approaches are they're awesome when they work. It's really nice to not have to worry about the ILS frequency. And I was reading that in the US, there's like twice as many WAS approaches, so that's the LPV and the LP approaches, as there are ILS approaches. And it's the technology is so cool because you can have these approaches with vertical guidance in places that would have never had an ILS installed. So you just have all these, they're not technically precision approaches because it's like a different definition, but you know, you still get an ILS like approach in all these places that never had an ILS. So it's crazy. It's really cool. So definitely climbed too high here. But yeah, they're so messy right now. I mean, it's only a matter of time until they fix it, right? Like, luckily, the things that they have got right, like the visuals in the game are so awesome that once they fix all these, you know, IFR things, these instrument things, autopilot things, I mean, it's gonna be inevitable that people that are like, I'm not gonna use Microsoft Flight Sim. Like, X-Plane's so much better, Prepared so much better. I don't know. I still use X-Plane every now and then, and I don't think X-Plane is so much better. Like, there's some more features in some of the avionics. It's a little more reliable, but it's just, to me, it seems inevitable. Everyone's going to be playing this. This is the next gen. It's here already. I'm glad we didn't have to wait until this August to get it. I'm glad that I've gotten to play it since last August, even if it does feel like a beta at times. I mean, it's just amazing, man. I love it. ATC is better in this than it is in X-Plane. Like you don't even get approaches in X-Plane from what I saw when I was playing it. They don't assign you an approach. You just like can fly it if you want. You can't even request an approach from ATC. And it sounds like a total robot when it talks to you. It's just it's so much better. Despite all the complaints we have about it in Microsoft Flight Sim, it's still so much better than X-Planes. And man, I just love, I love that you can install all of your add-ons and mods in one folder. You just drag and drop it into one folder and you're done. Every time I try to use an X-Plane mod, I'm just like pulling my hair out because it's like, here are these 8 subfolders that you have to find in your X-Plane folders and map them and drag these files in there and drag these files in there. It's like, oh God, just so much work. And you know, like more and more planes are going to be made for this. I mean, there's a DC-6 that people are flying right now and apparently loving that came out recently. There's so much stuff. Like this game is, I think the people that don't think it's king right now, within the next 12 months, they'll be playing this instead, I think. This time next year, like, I don't know, it's just insane. You hadn't flown in years, but when Microsoft Flight Sim came out, it revived me to the core. Yeah, and I've only been simming. I mean, I played flight sims when I was younger. I played the older ones casually. I never got this into it. You know, I'm more into it now because my girlfriend is flying for real. That motivated me to get it, but I've only been simming a year. I started playing X-Plane last summer when I built this, and then Flight Sim came out in August, so I'm not a long-time simmer either. I'm just super into it. Like, I'm just totally motivated, and yeah, I love it, obviously. $800 worth of gear, hundreds of planes. Oh, did you get the DC-6? I'm a little too intimidated by the DC-6. Like, that thing is definitely requires experience. I don't have that kind of experience, so. Yeah, I know people are really excited about the DC-6. All right, looks like we're gonna need to climb up here a little bit. Flight Sim X is the main reason you decided to enlist and aim for the job I got. Oh, that's awesome. I never played Flight Sim X. I played like the ones older than that. Hey Jared, what's up? Flight Sim with VAT Sim. I did 4 VFR flights today. It really adds to the game. Yeah, dude, for sure. I was doing Pilot Edge for a bit to learn. And I had a really good time doing Pilot Edge. I actually like that they have like a full-on training thing. And you have the consistency of knowing the controllers. You'll have 3 controllers on pretty much all day. They're on until 11 p.m. California time, so it's pretty awesome. But you can't do like a coast to coast like you can with VATSIM. They're just on the West Coast, basically. West Coast US. But yeah, I mean, VATSIM is amazing too. It was crazy. I saw they did that event a few weeks ago, which was like Light Up America or whatever it was called. And they had like, I think they had like 60 controllers on or something. It was crazy for the weekend. It was amazing how many people were on, how many controllers were on. And there were like 1,000 pilots on or something. All right, we are 28 miles out now. The weather is, the air is like so nice here. I've just been hand flying it. Like we're just staying on course easily. All right, let's pull our engine power back a bit. I don't have that kind of experience either. The engineer takes care of most of it. When he does, oh wait, is there an AI engineer that does the work for some of the things? You don't even have control over the throttle. Oh, no way. I didn't know it was that advanced. I mean, I've watched, what's that show on Netflix? Or sorry, it's on Amazon, that Ice Pilots or whatever. Those guys in the Northern the Northern Territories in Canada. They fly what, the DC-3 in that? Not the DC-6. But it's pretty insane that, yeah, they fly with an engineer in that show. Oh, you can disable them? That's really cool, though. I mean, that makes it more approachable for someone like me who's never flown, like, one of those. And, you know, if it's like a study level implementation and it's really complicated to learn, that's pretty cool that you can turn that on and then learn, kind of have the training wheels on for a bit. Virtual Flying Club does just fun flights all the time, adds to the fun. Yeah, that's cool. I haven't done Virtual Flying Club, Virtual Airlines, any of that stuff, but it seems like it could be cool. Back when I was using the Pilot Edge stuff last year to learn some of the ATC phraseology, there were guys on there that flew for that Walker Virtual Airline, so I'd hear those guys on there pretty often. Walker Air. It's funny, they have like an entire site set up with all their, like, I don't know if they have their roster of pilots, but they have like their fleet and stats on how much their pilots have flown that day and week and stuff like that. It's pretty cool. You can get really into it. It's like the checklist, you click what you want and he sorts it out. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I didn't even know that there was a virtual engineer. Man, it feels like I'm flying with autopilot, but I've just been hand flying this. Just so smooth. All right, we are 21 miles out now. We're just flying in France. We're delivering tassels and pasties, no joke. That's our literally our cargo. Tassels, pom-poms, and pasties is going, those things are going to this airfield. Who knows what kind of party they're throwing? Maybe they'll invite us, but it's a little weird. Hail from Barbados. Hey, John, what's up? Great content. Cheers. Thanks, man. Earlier today was a struggle. I started this stream and I was having a bunch of technical problems, but I did a reboot. I changed a setting in my streaming software and that seems to have sorted it out. But it was a little bit of a struggle for that stream. I started for an hour and then had to end and reboot. I watched the video today where they said they're gonna dumb down flight sim. So I saw a little bit on that. I think Obsidian Ant had put out a video about that. But it looked like they're just adding more assistance options. Like it looks like, you know, there's like this AI, where is it? Control aircraft right here. Apparently from the video and the screenshots, it looks like they're basically taking this AI control and making it a big AI assistance menu where you can check options and ask it to fly around waypoints for you or POIs and things like that. And I think in the interview, Jorg said that they're not dumbing it down for everybody else. Like they're just adding more options. So if you do want the help, you know, especially for all these like more casual players that are going to come in with Xbox, the release of it on Xbox next month, that they'll have some more options there. So it'll be more accessible and stuff. Yeah, that's the same video. Yeah, so yeah, I don't think we have to worry about it being dumbed down in any way. Like that's not in their best interest. Like if they dumb it down, they would lose all the people that take it seriously. You know, they don't want to do that. But those assistance options are great. I mean, I'm a fan of it coming out on the Xbox just because I'm hoping that with more casual players coming in, they'll integrate some more of the more casual focused features that people that take it seriously would like too. Like if that results in like shared cockpit and stuff because people on Xbox want to play with each other and be in the same plane, like it might really motivate them to accelerate some of those features. Like they might end up doing something like that faster because of requests from the more casual people on Xbox. So I mean, yeah, we'll see. I mean, they're not going to stop developing this game. You know, this thing's going to be out for a decade, or you know, who knows how long this will be the current gen. I'm just stoked to see what they add. I wish they had like, yeah, built-in shared cockpit will be so amazing. They're totally going to make that. I have faith they will make that. That'll be really cool. And I wish they had more career mode stuff. Like, I wish they had stuff like Skypark and NeoFlyer doing like built-in, you know, with like events happening and, you know, you're doing missions and like a career mode. That would be really cool. You know, maybe the improvements they're making to the SDK with like the visual effects editor and stuff, maybe that's maybe that'll enable even better missions like with NeoFly and stuff like that. I don't know, I'm stoked. Oh, the Xbox yoke and throttle. Yeah, the Turtle Beach one. Yeah, it looks pretty cool. I mean, it supposedly even works with PC, so like that's pretty awesome. Like if you play on Xbox and PC, like what a great deal. If that thing is solid, how you could just use that on your PC, unhook it, go use it on your Xbox, like kind of neat. All right, Dragon, take it easy, dude. Oh, another early sim day tomorrow. Good luck, dude. Don't do the things that I've done in this stream, and you'll be fine. Hope it goes well, man. Oh yeah, no rudder pedals. Yeah, I guess they assume when you're playing casual, maybe you'll just start with rudder assist turned on. I think the default setting in Flight Sim is medium anyway in the assistance options, and Takeoff, that auto rudder assist is on in medium by default, so. Sitting on a couch with rudder pedals sounds hard. I guess I'm not doing it much better. I'm sitting on a rolling office chair here. All right, we are 12 miles out. What is it? LFHS? LFHS, that's our... There's our CTAF frequency. I don't know anything about the wind, but it's been so calm flying this. I don't think there's any significant wind. I have a yoke, but I mainly use the Airbus side stick on my left hand and the Honeycomb Bravo throttle. That's mainly what I do. I have rudder pedals as well. I really like the convenience of the side stick instead of the yoke, especially when I'm making videos and I'm streaming. Oops, I'm getting off course here. It's way more convenient to have the stick because the yoke is like in the way of where my microphone is and stuff. So I prefer the stick and the simplicity. It's easier to put away. So I have the throttle on my right, kind of always hooked up, and then I just pull the stick out when I'm in the sim. But the Airbus side stick is nice, but the rudder control, that, you know, the Z, is that the Z axis? The twist axis is already messing up for me. I actually have it disabled. For a while I was using the twist just out of, you know, just because it's so easy to just, it's challenging, but I just like using fewer controls. So I was actually twisting for the rudder, especially when I'm taxiing and stuff. It was just easy instead of pulling the rudder pedals out. But there's something wrong with the side stick twist axis already is messed up. It kind of has sporadic inputs when I'm not using it, so I had to disable it. It's kind of a bummer. I'm outside of the return window too, so yeah, kind of sucks. Other than that, I think the stick is great, but this problem is kind of annoying. And we can't see anything. Supposedly 16. Oh, I should climb a little bit here. I'm gonna climb a little because I think I'm pretty sure our lowest obstacle was 1,600 feet, and I do not know where it is. So I'm gonna climb up to a little over 2,000 and keep my wings level and just stick on this heading so we can see the airport. Go a little bit to the left. The honeycomb stuff is great though. I have those crosswind rudder pedals, and I think I might actually switch to the honeycomb rudder pedals when they come out. They're making those Charlie rudder pedals, Alpha, Bravo, and Charlie. So Charlie will be the rudder pedals. So I'm looking forward to those because they've done so well on the honeycomb yoke and the throttle. I got lucky with the throttle quadrant like a couple months ago. I was on Reddit, on the Microsoft Flight Sim subreddit, and somebody posted a thread that said, hey, the xplane.org store has the honeycomb throttle in stock. And I went there and there was still one and I grabbed it. So I got pretty lucky. I just happened to look at Reddit and somebody had pointed out that it was available. But it's great. I mean, yeah, keep an eye on Reddit. I just happened to get lucky when I checked Reddit. I usually check Reddit every day on the Microsoft subreddit, or Microsoft Flight Sim subreddit. It's pretty nice. I did notice though that one of the switches doesn't work on it, so I've had pretty bad luck with hardware lately. One of the up-down switches on the honeycomb throttle does not work for me. I mean, we definitely have the winds picked up here now. Our altitude is going kind of crazy. If you watch our vertical speed indicator right here, it's just blowing us up and down quite a bit. It's trying to keep us level here. Look at that blue sky. Oh, it's beautiful. This is the beauty you get in Microsoft Flight Sim, everyone. Behold. Behold the beauty. You found a real flight school in Lakeland, Florida, had an Alpha and Bravo. Oh, they had it and you ordered it, went on back order for 5 months the next day. Oh wait, did you get one then? You found a couple, they wanted like 700. Yeah, not worth it. $700? They're $250. That's crazy. Yeah, I'm worried about returning this one. The switch, that one of the switches doesn't work. I don't really have it assigned to anything, so I'm not too worried about it, but I was worried if I returned it, I wouldn't get another one back because they're so out of stock. All right, we are getting close to the airport here. The airport's at 700 feet MSL. If I check back here, sorry, 850 MSL is the airport elevation. So I'm gonna start descending. I have no idea what the terrain is around here. So this is very sketchy. But we're about to overfly the airport, and I just need to see how low we can get in here. Yeah, I hope I break out of it too. You have the Alpha and the Bravo. Oh, and the TPR. Wait, the TPR, are those the Thrustmaster? Those insane Thrustmaster ones? My Alpha is fine. My Bravo that I got from the X-Plane store, one of the vertical switches doesn't work. Those like configurable middle switches. One of those does not work, so I can't bind it. So that's been crappy, but I don't know if I want to return it or what. I'm worried if I return it, I won't get another one back. I really like it other than that, though. Like, maybe there's something I can do to fix it. I actually emailed them about it, and they haven't replied to me, so... yeah. It's fine, though. I mean, it's one switch out of so many, and I don't really use those switches that much. Just because... I don't know why I don't use them, actually. I think I forget if they're in the on or off position, and then, like, I'll use an assisted checklist or something, and then you know, it'll mismatch between what the switch's position is and what it is in the game. Not everything has an on and off shortcut. There's a lot of like toggle shortcuts. So like you can't even bind parking brake on, parking brake off. I think there's only arm parking brake and toggle parking brake or something. Oh, there's some terrain. Oh my God, we're gonna hit the ground, aren't we? Holy crap. All right. Holy shit. I would say this is below minimums, maybe. Oh man, I can't see anything. We are the leading cause of crashes right now. VFR into IMC. It's happening. This is fun though. Things you would never do in real life. Fly here. I mean, we're at 2,000 feet. Where's the airport? I'm probably gonna hit terrain, aren't I? Yeah, this is horrible. This is like unlandable. That's what we get for live weather too. I mean, I love playing in live weather though. It's just way more fun. ILS. Yeah, unfortunately it's an untowered. I don't think there's an ILS. Is it untowered? Yeah, it's an untowered airport with no ILS. It has no, I don't think it has any approaches at all, actually. Actually, I didn't even check the approach menu. Select approach. I don't know what's going on right there. Doesn't look like terrain. Is there? I don't think there are any approaches here. Yeah, there's nothing. We got nothing. Yeah. Well, I could cheat just so we can land and turn the live weather off, because it's below minimums. We can't even see the airport, so sorry guys, I'm gonna clear the weather up for us. So I'm sure it would be entertaining to see me slam into the side of a mountain, because I can't see anything, but let's land and get paid. It's ridiculous. Oh, there's our runway right there. One 8 right. Giving it a 360. Yeah, that was crazy. That was just like, that storm was just perfectly located right over the airport we're going to. Hit that thumbs up, kids. Things you will never hear me say unprompted. How's it going, Fly Farther? How's that helicopter, how's the helicoptering going? Whoops, first notch of flaps way too fast. Yeah, and that weather was insane. That was funny. I did try to do that before where we had like really, really bad weather and I flew around for so long. I ended up landing in a random field. It wasn't quite as bad as this one, but I ended up landing in a random field, but it wasn't the right grass field. Like impossible to find it. We should probably announce that we're landing.
Lima Foxtrot
Maybe a little
Hotel
bit too
Sierra
late.
Traffic Cessna November 21 Kilo India Papa is on final runway 18 right to land.
Crashing it daily. Dude, it's so hard. I haven't played it. I don't think I've used the helicopter since that day that we flew together, but dude, it's so challenging. All right. Yeah, I saw there were a few more updates to the H135, but I haven't looked at the release notes myself yet. What is it? Up to version 1.3 now or something, I think I saw. It's like that thing is just a foot workout. Like all the rudder you have to apply constantly, like it's pretty nuts. I mean, I guess once you're flying, once you're actually like on the move, it's not so bad, but yeah, it's a total foot workout. Fella told me it's 1,000% better if you to fly the chopper if you fly it in VR. So I did. A few of you guys were telling me on Thursday's stream to get VR, so I did look into them and I ended up getting the G2. I think most of you guys recommended the G2, but you said someone said, you know, do your own research, but the G2 is like pretty much the go-to option, especially for sims. So I get that on Wednesday. I don't know if I'll be streaming much with it because it's kind of weird to stream VR. We're talking about how it's like, it can be like really choppy and kind of weird looking when you stream VR, but I'll do some tests and see what it's like. But yeah, I'm pretty excited to see what it's like. I've never used VR. Yeah, we'll see what happens. I partially think it's gonna like scare the hell out of me. Oh, it's shaky when you stream it. Yeah, because the hardware does a lot of like interpolation or something between the frames, right? To make it smooth when you're actually using the hardware. So yeah, that makes sense. But I'm looking forward to it. It'll be fun. I don't know what to expect, if it's gonna make me like dizzy or anything, or nauseous or anything. I have no idea. I'm a little worried that it might, but we'll see. I don't really get like motion sickness or car sickness or anything like that, really. So we'll see. Hey, Scheme. I'm using Skypark just because it's very simple to use Skypark. I like the simplicity. I used to use On Air Company primarily, but I wasn't really taking advantage of all the features it has. Like Skypark's kind of more my speed. Just use it for the flights basically. Like, so it recommends flights for me more so than like feeling like I'm doing like a franchise kind of thing, you know? I want those vaporware honeycomb Charlies. Can't keep jerking around with number pad 0 and decimal point. Oh, you're using your keyboard for rudders right now? Yeah, the Charlies I'm sure will be awesome. Like the Alpha and the Bravo is great. Like I love them, and I might even, you know, if they're in stock, I'm sure the Charlies will sell out like crazy, just like all the Honeycomb stuff does. But if I got my hands on them, I would probably swap these Crossfires for them. I have the MFG Crossfires and they're cool. Like I like that they're heavy and the quality is really good, but something that weirds me out about them is just how big the feet are. Like the feet on these things are like a size 12 shoe size. Like they're crazy big and they require quite a bit of pressure to get them to go the full range of motion, even with the springs turned to their lowest setting. So I think they're really sturdy, but I think people could do better. I think there could be better pedals, and the Honeycomb guys have just done so good on their other stuff that I'm hoping that their rudder pedals are really good quality too. Can't remove a spring. Yeah, I can't take the spring out completely, but I do have it at the lowest setting on the springs. And it's just, it's okay. The spring for pushing them is fine. Like when I push them, it's okay. But when I apply brakes, the brakes are, you need to be pretty heavy on the feet to push the brakes. And they're just awkwardly huge. Like they're just gigantic. I don't know. All right, we actually got paid this time because I remembered to start the mission, so that's good. TPRs have 2 springs and removed 1. Man, the TPRs look insane. How is Skypark compared to the others? Skypark's the easiest to use. It has the least amount of features, but the UI is really nice. I like that it's a one-time cost. It's not a subscription like On Air Company. And it's easier to use than On Air and Neofly. Like On Air and Neofly are both kind of ugly. Skypark's the best looking, but it's the simplest. It only has cargo missions right now. But I mean, I would recommend Skypark for more casual stuff. Like if you don't want to build FBOs or do virtual airlines or manage AI pilots and run your own airline, like all that kind of stuff is, you can do that in On Air and in Neofly. So it's more complex. But if you want something more casual that'll just give you some cool routes to fly, like I think Skypark's really cool for that. It's really easy to get into and use. The one thing I don't like about Skypark is that every single mission is a cargo mission. Like there's no passenger stuff yet. There's no special missions. Like Neofly has the coolest mission types. You know, it has like VIP passengers and do this illegal drug smuggling. You have to stay under 1,500 feet and turn your transponder off and fly at night. You know, they have a big variety of stuff in Neofly. I think that's Neofly's biggest advantage, and that it's free, you know? It's just hard to learn the UI. So if you have $30 or so to drop on Skypark, and you don't want something that's super advanced and you're okay with it having just cargo missions right now, I think it's worth the $30. It's really approachable, especially if you've never used one of these before. I think it's the best one for your first one, and if you don't want those advanced features. And they update it all the time. I mean, I think they updated it twice this week. So if I go to the settings here and there's 2 gameplay modes, so you can have all like the contract stuff and fees, and yeah, they say they're doing aircraft fleet management. Something Skypark doesn't do though is there's no fuel management that you have to do. You can set the fuel to whatever you want. You can set the cargo, the weight and balance to whatever you want. You can use time acceleration. Like you can do all of that. There are no rules around that stuff yet. But they do have the 2 game modes. One is just like do whatever you want. You're not worried about XP or karma or anything like that. And then the other one is like that mode where you get like, you know, you earn money in XP and stuff. The only thing you use money on right now though is to pay fees when you relocate your pilot. which happens instantly. Compared with like on air where, you know, you have to transport your pilot and wait 8 hours or whatever, mattering where you're sending them. But yeah. And I would start with NeoFly if you want something that's free. And if you have 20, 30 bucks to drop on Skypark and you want something simpler, I would go with Skypark. I mean, I kind of go back and forth, you know, I keep trying them all. But yeah, sorry, in the update section here under, yeah, this software updates, like they keep adding stuff. They have a lot of like editorialized content, you know, like here's a bunch of stuff they added in Austria. They just did this on Friday. So then you can go and look at all those new like handcrafted missions they've done. Here, this was on Wednesday. Just 2 days before that, they did an Alaskan bush adventure. So they're updating it constantly. And I think, you know, eventually they say they're going to add the fleet management. So that'll be cool. And then I'm sure they'll add another mission type. Like it can't just be all cargo forever. I'm sure they'll add more mission types eventually. I have no idea when, but yeah, it's pretty cool. You can actually tell what, like, so the gold colored routes here, these gold ones, these are ones that they basically customize themselves. So these are like the editorialized ones, if you will. So they'll have like, you know, a theme around it. Same like this one, grasshopper flights. And then these other ones that are colored blue, these are like computer generated routes. So yeah, if you pick one of the gold ones, it's like a little more unique. So this is like a vaccine one. This is the one we just looked at, trip to Hangar 7. So going to Austria. So this one actually has like a ton of different ones that all go to the same airport. Yeah, and they like, look, they link to videos. They'll link to like Spotify playlists and stuff. That's kind of cool. I like all of them really, but I've been using Skypark more often than not, the other ones lately. All right, let's do one more flight before I'm done for the night. It's, what time is it? 7 o'clock. I needed some food at some point. Here's a short one, 37 miles. But if we're in this area, we're gonna have. I should find one with an ILS. So I'm gonna go filter for ILS. And should we do I kind of want to do one in the diamond to end the night off because of my love for the diamond. Here's a quick one, 58 miles. And so this gold ring you see here in the game mode that I'm in, this is like how much you pay to relocate for that flight. So that's the fee that you pay to relocate up there, since our pilot is where that dot is right there. So it's showing us it's around $100 to relocate here, and it just does it instantly. You don't have to wait for it. And then I do like that it gives you like a summary of the waypoints. So it shows you your highest obstacle, so you know how high you need to fly. You know, it shows you what type of planes you should use for that particular mission. It gives you runway information and an aerial photo of each of the plane or each of the airports, and runway information, elevation. That's kind of nice. Yeah, I hope they add the fuel management stuff. I hope they at least, maybe not the fuel, but the weights and balances. Like that stuff's great. You want to fly the mission as if the cargo's weighing down the plane, so you get those different dynamics in the flight. That stuff's important, I think. So I hope they add that later on. But for now, it's very forgiving. You can just kind of do whatever you want. All right, so EDFW, Würzburg, EDFW to EDFM, Mike, Mannheim. All right, and we're doing low altitude airways, and they have, hey, wait, where's the ILS approach? What? EDFM, EDFM. There's an RNAV. It's probably an RNAV that is an LPV approach, which is like an ILS. So that could be why it says ILS in Skypark. Do we try our luck with an RNAV approach? I think we do. All right, and let's fly the the DA40. Go with the stock one. 4 a.m. Let's go like sunrise. All right. So we'll begin this one. We pay our fee. So that's that relocation fee. So we moved away from our current airport further to the north. So we pay $85. So it shows your fees and your profits. You just pay the fee and then you can start the flight. Gas generators. All right. It's not as awkward as the last flight where we were delivering pasties for some reason. Some more innocent cargo here. Gas generators. All right. And then I chose IFR for the flight plan. So we'll get assigned cruise altitude to climb to. This will be a pretty fast flight. 58 miles. I wonder what I keep checking NeoFly every now and then. I'm not sure if they've added any new mission types or anything.
November 21 Kilo India Pocket taking off runway 29er departure to the south.
All right, back to the glass cockpit. All right, so they cleared us for 7,000 feet for our altitude. So I'll dial that in. Whoops. 7,000 feet. I hit B to update our altimeter. Check our references here. Set it up for an 80 knot climb. There we go. Heading mode. Heading bug is synced. Flight level change. 80 knots up to 7,000 feet. And our rotation speed 69. Nice. All right, parking brake off. Flaps are in takeoff position. Windsock is moving a little bit to the left there. Wow, is this man, are we gonna be able to take off here? I don't know what our VX is. So if we're climbing 80, it's probably, oh man. Oh. That was sketchy. Holy crap. The Diamond needs a pretty long takeoff roll compared to the Cessna. So that was a little bit sketchy. Oh, the banner missions? Oh yeah, I tried that. That was really difficult. This is the Diamond DA40 NG. So it has the G1000 in it. I like this plane a lot. I think if I did a real life discovery flight, I would want to fly a Diamond.
Center Diamond November 21 Kilo India Papa is at 1,500 feet climbing 7,000
The Diamonds just have like a lot of safety features built into them, like from the fuel tanks to like the longer wingspan to all the computer, like the computer systems built in, like fuel injected engine. It's got like a engine controlled computer for the prop speed, or electronically controlled one. Is it easy to fly? I think it's pretty straightforward to fly. It's, you only have one throttle lever right here. The propeller speed and the mixture are controlled by the computer. Well, there's not really a mixture control because it's a fuel injected engine, but it's pretty straightforward, and it has like glider-like characteristics to it because the wingspan is pretty wide, but at the same time it's a little bit faster. I think that's probably the biggest downside, is that your speeds are faster in this than something like a Cessna 172 or a Piper. Oh, you have a discovery flight? Awesome. I have never taken one, but I think at some point I'll want to. I'm getting to the point where I'm like kind of considering it. We'll see how it goes. All right, I turned autopilot on now. Switch over to nav mode. Yeah, I mean, I'm not a real life pilot, so you'll listen to the discovery flight guy. I mean, you'll probably be in, I mean, I don't know. Do you get to choose? I assume you can ask them for what you want to fly, and basically Diamonds are pretty cool. But I think it's more common that you'll be in like a Cessna or a Piper. But I haven't been in a Diamond in real life either, so I'm not, I don't know, maybe I wouldn't like them in real life. But I just was doing some research on them, watching some videos about them, and a lot of the safety things they built in are pretty cool. Like the fuel tanks, for example, are, they're like double encased or something. They're basically like, there's fireproofing, like a new fireproofing like layout they did with them. So it basically, if you crash landed, the fuel tanks and the wings wouldn't like light up on fire, you know, which is common with like emergency crash landings and stuff. Like as you skid, the fuel tanks can ignite. So they like have extra protection in the Diamond fuel tanks that are in the wings. And then, yeah, like the way that wings are designed and like being a little longer, like basically cuts down on the chance of being able to stall it. It's not as easy to stall, I think, because of the additional wing length and the way the wing tips are designed. All right, Jared, take it easy, man. We should do a VFR flight on VATSIM sometime. Oh man, yeah. I before I do that, what I would do is oh, are my flaps still down? No, my flaps are up. Okay. I thought I put them up. I would probably do Pilot Edge again for a little bit to brush up on my ATC skills, because I haven't done it for a while. I think the last time I did it was like December. So I'd want to brush up on that a bit before I embarrass myself doing ATC calls. I think they have a rule. Do they have a rule for streaming too on VATSIM? I think you need to like, I think you need to notify the controllers that you're streaming or something when you do it. I'd have to brush up on the rules there, but I think there's a rule like that. Pilot Edge is similar to VATSIM. It's like a virtual air traffic control service where you talk to real humans for air traffic control, but it's a paid service. And Pilot Edge has actual real life air traffic controllers that are on their network. So in their free time, they do air traffic control for simulators. And they have a training program where they'll teach you the basics of like doing ATC communication. So you can do the basics of ATC. That's called the CAT ratings. There's like 10 of those that you do, 10 different flights. So they ease you into doing air traffic control communication. So you start like untowered airport to untowered airport. Then you do like an untowered airport to a towered airport, and you actually talk to the air traffic controller. So I did 9 out of the 10 of those, and I had a good time doing it. It was really well done. They have like tutorials written out. They have videos demonstrating the entire flight for you, so you can learn before you do it yourself. It's really cool. But it is a paid service. There's like a free trial period. I think it's like 3 days or 7-day trial period, and then you have to pay monthly. And it's also based on the Western US, so it's mostly like west of Colorado, I'd say, like that area. And it's focused on like the California airspace, mostly like LA airspace for the most part, because it's really complicated. And it's to the real world as much as possible, as far as like flying through the LA airspace specifically. There's like a lot of very specific LA specific routes and stuff that you can take that are supported on their network. But it's cool. I mean, yeah, check it out. I had a good time on it. They also have a full instrument ATC instrument training plan too, so you do all your instrument flying, so you learn IFR procedures. I didn't do that one, but yeah. And what they do is they actually like score you, so when you're ready to do it, you say like, you tell the controller you're doing, you know, for the first ratings, they're called the CAT ratings. You're like, oh, I'm doing the CAT 5 rating. They're like, okay. And then they'll tell you at the end if you passed or not. And then they give you like a little checkbox in your profile that says that you've passed that rating. And the same thing is with the instrument rating. So yeah, it's a little more thorough of like an actual training program. Whereas VATSIM is kind of I think you can get some of that stuff with VATSIM, but it's more of a free for all with VATSIM. But you could do, you know, a month of Pilot Edge to learn the basics, and go through the ratings, or 2 months, whatever it takes you, and then switch over to VATSIM and have all those skills already. Or if you're going to do real life stuff, you can practice your ATC stuff in the sim, knowing that the Pilot Edge people are actual ATC pros. But you know, the VATSIM controllers are awesome too. There's just a chance that you have a less experienced controller with VATSIM. But yeah. Hey Devil, what's up? Did I pre-plan it? I just did it through Skypark as usual, so I'm just doing this mission right here. So we're flying from here to here. The reason why we're south is because I chose an IFR flight plan and just let Flight Sim pick it. So it's flying us to the south first and then to the west. So you can see our flight plan right over here. Oh, you mean with the flight plan itself? I just chose IFR from the world map and just used the IFR route that Microsoft Flight Sim picked for me. I usually do that just to, you know, to get in quickly and not have a lot of time doing all the flight planning and stuff myself when I'm on the stream. Just get straight into the flight. But we did a couple with the Cessna 172, and am I on live weather? Oh, I am on live weather. Okay, good. There was some sketchy weather the last flight, so I had to switch to manual weather because we couldn't see the runway. So that was yeah, it was borderline hitting the terrain because the clouds were all the way down to the ground. So we had to cheat a little bit and turn off the live weather for that one. Cargo mission. This is the DA40. What kind of cargo? I think it's gas generators, right? I think that's the cargo for this one. But Skypark, unlike, sorry, it's loud when I'm outside there. Unlike NeoFly and On Air, Skypark does not load the cargo. So you're just at the default weights and balances and fuel. It doesn't manage your cargo, your weight and balance, or your fuel for you. So you can fly whatever you want. That's one of the things about Skypark is it's more forgiving. It's not very strict on that kind of stuff. You can use time acceleration. You know, you can fly whatever plane you want. And partially that's why I like it, is because I don't have to worry about as much. I kind of wish, I hope in the future they do the weights and balances thing. I don't really care as much about the fuel management. That can get annoying if your plane gets stranded somewhere because you didn't realize there wasn't a fuel, wasn't refueling available where you flew to. That can suck, but I do think they should do the weights and balances thing at some point. It's just nice to have the dynamics of the plane different, you know, how it's handling based on what you're carrying is cool. So hopefully they'll do that later. I remember when I started on On Air Company, I was flying the Cessna 172, and yeah, you can carry like 2 passengers or like 300 pounds maybe, 350 pounds maybe of cargo. That was a struggle, especially if you if you had to climb to when that thing is fully loaded, your climb rate is so much worse. It's crazy. There was some struggling with some flights in that one when I was doing that. You earn hardly any money. I really upgraded to the Grand Caravan as quickly as I could when I was doing On Air Company. But I'm nerding out on the diamonds recently, so I definitely like the DA40, and the 62 is awesome as well. When it comes to fuel, you could always plan a quick fuel grab stop at any airport. Yep. Yeah, when I was doing On Air, I had to do that pretty often. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's cool when you do that. Like, you know, when I'm doing this stream, like I try to get from one flight to the next as quickly as possible, you know, and not do a flight that's too long, you know, because the takeoff and the landing is the most fun part to watch, I think, right? So I could do more advanced ones and do some on-air company, and you know, you can tell I'm not even like checking the weather. I'm just kind of getting from point A to point B. I'm not doing it by the book very realistically when I'm doing this stream. But I don't know if that stuff's interesting to watch or not, like doing the full flight planning, you know, using apps like real world app, using SkyVector, using ForeFlight to do the planning, checking the real weather, you know, tuning into the ATIS for real when we're arriving there, and all those real life procedures. I could do that next time if that stuff is interesting. I just feel like it could get pretty boring. But yeah, if it's interesting, I'm totally down to do those kind of flights too, more realistic stuff. I definitely am guilty of just loading onto the runway, picking a Skypark mission and just taking off instantly and just not really doing my research when I'm doing the stream. So just try to keep it more casual, I guess. It is interesting. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I can do that. I can do that next time. And I usually, you know, I'm doing a lot of the shorter missions too. Could do something a little longer. I think even the shorter missions might be fun, like even doing the Cessna 172, or I like the Grand Caravan. I think that's a good compromise between, like, you know, the TBM or a jet and the Cessna 172, something a little faster, something with more passenger and cargo capacity. I like the Grand Caravan quite a lot. It's really fun to fly. Low fuel left. Forgot this has a left-right fuel selector. Fuel pump on. Over to the right tank. Yeah, so we did want to find the weather here. Let's see. You know, there's so many capabilities too. Like, it would be so nice if you could find the weather on the weather frequencies on here consistently. So I think how it should work, I think when you choose a waypoint, you can see the nearby weather. So what I could do is just go to nearest airports and scroll through this list and then look for an ATIS frequency. So I've done it this way before. Go up here and just find an airport to the west. So EDFM is ours, but actually it probably does have an ATIS. This isn't as small of an airport as the other ones. And something that's annoying that you can't do is select. I should be able to go here. Oh wait, it has selected. Yeah, so this is where it has selected waypoint weather, but it doesn't work. It'd be really nice if this worked, or if you could hit enter right now and load it into the waypoint. That is something you can do in the 530 and the 430 with the mod, which I love. But for now, I can go to the waypoint page and type in EDFM. But you have to manually type it in, so it takes a minute.
Kilo, India Papa, you are 3 miles east. Descend and maintain 5,000 feet.
All right, there's the ATIS right there.
27 approach by key take transition. Clear to key deck.
All right, here's the ATIS. I'll leave that up. So they cleared us for descend and maintain 5,000. Expect a localizer 27 approach.
Descend and maintain 5,000 feet. Expect localizer runway 27 approach via key tag transition. Cleared to key tag Diamond Kilo India Papa.
All right, down to 5,000 feet. So our ground speed is 136. Multiply that by 5. We can go down about 700 feet per minute. That'll give us 3 degrees roughly. And we're going to procedures, select approach, localizer 27 to key tag. That's correct. And then we got cleared to it, so we activate. See what kind of crazy route this takes us on. Okay, it's the path we're already on, right? Yeah, this is straight in from where we're at already, so that's cool. All right, so we can get the weather too. Whoops, down here, 132.415, so I'm gonna put that in COM 2. 132, right down here, 415. You always use SkyVector on your tablet. Yeah, I love SkyVector. I like to try to do stuff in the avionics in the plane too, but just because I can show it all and it's kind of fun to, it's kind of challenging to use it on the plane when it's pretty limited, but yeah, SkyVector is incredible. All right, so 132.415 on COM 2. Now we can just turn on COM 2 radio right here and listen in so we don't lose ATC.
Mannheim Airport information Kilo 0600 Zulu. Wind 269er at 11. Visibility, tree. Sky condition, few clouds at 900 feet. Few clouds at 4,700 feet.
Oh, it did the U-turn bug on us. See, it's going backwards.
Temperature 20. 2.10. Altimeter 29.69er. Visual runway 27. Visual runway
29er 69er on the altimeter.
Landing and departing runway 27.
Runway 27.
Center and runway 27 right. DSR aircraft say direction of flight. All aircraft read back hold short instructions. Advise controller on initial contact. You have Kilo.
All right, we got information Kilo. Yeah, so it's doing that annoying flyback bug that has been in the sim since day 1. Maybe July is when they fix it. When's the, I think it's like middle to end of July is going to be the next sim update. So I'm always overly excited for sim updates because there's so many bug fixes that we're waiting for. So anyway, I just let it turn around and do what it wants to do for this approach. If it wants to do the 360, I'll just let it do it to not mess with it and hope that it does the right thing. So we're going to key tag. And I'm going to look up that localizer at EDFM, look up that approach in SkyVector. Forgot we were doing IFR. I do not see any documents for this, unfortunately. Right, and I think SkyVector only, yeah, SkyVector only has the FAA documents, so, yeah, this is in Germany, so I do not have that approach plate. But it is a localizer approach, so let's see. What I could do is look up the localizer frequency over here, since we already had the waypoint info up. ILS 27. So they told us it's not a full ILS though. It's just said that they have an RNAV approach and then they have a localizer approach. But you know, this should be probably localizer runway 27. Anyway, we'll activate that. See if we're in range. 108.55. So it's activated there on nav 1, but it's not in range. Just make sure there's not another frequency on there. Yeah, that's the only frequency there. Gotta go catch you on your next stream. All right, man. Enjoy your content and tutorials. Cheers, man. I appreciate it. Fair winds and fly safe. Will do. Thanks so much. Yeah, I'm gonna be off after this one because I need to eat. I haven't eaten anything since like breakfast, so getting some hunger pangs. Definitely need to eat, but after this landing. Have a good one, dude. Thanks for hanging out. Oh, this terrain looks awesome. This looks cool. I just love when the clouds have this like lighting, when the lighting's coming through the different areas with the clouds scattered. It just looks so good. It's beautiful. I forgot to read. Yeah, I read your comment that said, sad to say not switching fuel tanks has killed many pilots in real life. Is that that's one of the #1 causes for fatal accidents, right? It's fuel starvation, or yeah, not either because of running out of fuel or not being on a full tank or a tank with fuel in it, or relying on gauges. Yeah, like relying on gauges when they're, you know, you're not supposed to rely on fuel gauges. You're supposed to visually confirm the fuel that's actually in the tanks. And then, yeah, VFR into IMC. It's a huge one too. I'm just sorry, I just saw an alert on my phone from this guy that left a comment on one of my tutorials. He says, "You were a total mom. You fully explained it, held my hand, reassured me throughout the entire flight. Just what I needed." People are funny, man. You held my hand. No problem, son. All right, so how far out are we? So let's see. I'm on the waypoint mode, so it's focused around the airport. I need to go back to the map mode so we see where we're at. So we're almost at this first waypoint here. Key tag. I don't know what is going on with the routing here, with these like little turns. Okay, this looks okay. They're just, the way it's showing on here looks weird. It just must be like when it's zoomed out, it looks funny for some reason. Yeah, this looks okay. These little, it looks like it's doing like a turnaround here or something. So it looks kind of funny. This airport is at 300 feet MSL. So just as a reminder to myself, I'm going to put this down to 1300, which will be our pattern altitude. And then I can't see the total mileage because the G1000 doesn't let you see the total mileage remaining. And I don't have the approach document either, so I guess we could potentially ask for a visual approach. That's weird, it's not showing it, huh? Oh no, I selected the runway, sorry, select approach. Yeah, we could do like a visual, wait, what? What's runway 27 center, 27 right? That's confusing. We should get 27 left, center, and right, or 27 left, 27 right, and then 27, I guess, would be center. But what the heck is runway 27 when there's already a 27 center and a 27 right? I have no idea. I guess we could switch over to the RNAV. Use the same transition point. Let's request this. Request approach and runway from controller.
Diamond Kilo India.
So let's try this one out.
Runway 27 approach, key tag transition landing, runway 27 center.
So let's do the RNAV 27 instead.
Diamond Kilo, India Papa, you are 23 miles.
Oh no, it's doing the
Maintain present heading and altitude.
it's doing the flyback bug again.
27 approach by key tag transition.
Let's go to direct to our next waypoint, which is key tag. And go down to key tag here and hit direct to and enter. So it'll erase that previous waypoint and turn us back. So it should get rid of this line. We should go right from here. There we go. It was doing the flyback bug again, where it was trying to go all the way back to this previous waypoint. So, all right. So now we are going back to key tag again. Nothing to see here, just a few bugs.
Diamond Kilo, India Papa, did you copy?
Whoops, yes I did.
Maintain present heading and altitude. Expect RNAV runway 27 approach via key tag transition. Sidestep
All right,
runway
fuel is about to be at
Clear to key
the
tag Diamond Kilo India Papa.
quarter marker here on both tanks soon. So we'll get a left, we'll get a right fuel low soon too. All right, they're switching us over to approach.
129.355 Diamond Kilo India Papa.
And hopefully, since it's an RNAV approach, we'll see if they give us the altitude callouts now. because I don't have that approach plate. I could load up Navigraph. I'm just being lazy right now and don't want to load up the whole program and try to input this whole flight plan. I guess I could just look up the airport really quickly to get the Jeppesen charts through Navigraph, but it's fine. I'll just listen to ATC and see what they tell us to do. Next song. All right. So we got some terrain up here. And is that the runway right there? Probably not. Oh, there it is way out there. You can see the lights already. So we're already decently lined up with it. You can maybe see the runway lights right there flashing. With Flight Sim 2020, tend to fly out of out of a local airfield where you live. Yeah, I live in the LA area, so I fly in SoCal all the time. I like flying out of like Santa Barbara, Camarillo, Santa Maria, Santa Monica. Like all the LA airspace stuff is really fun. But it's hell on your frames per second in LA. When given a taxi clearance and the assigned taxi number don't match the actual airport diagram. I've seen that before. Yeah. Yeah, if you're doing, if you're doing VATSIM or something like that, at least, and you have something like Navigraph or SkyVector or ForeFlight or what's that other one, Volanta or whatever is another app where you can get the taxiway diagrams on. Those are, yeah, it's pretty frustrating when you try to look at the actual signage and it's just wrong. All right, so I see the glide slope right there. So we have some sort of vertical guidance here, but it's pretty iffy in Microsoft Flight Sim where you capture that vertical guidance too. So we'll see how this goes. I'm gonna turn on vertical speed mode and just manually catch up to that little diamond right there. Oh, we're not on approach yet, my bad. They probably already cleared us. They probably told us some altitudes, and I wasn't tuned in. You have to use the taxi ribbon. Yeah, I use the taxi ribbon. I use the taxi ribbon as well. All right, update the altimeter 2967. All right, it says we're below the glide path, so I'm pulling up a little bit.
Tower on 129.78 Diamond Kilo India Papa.
All right, switching over to tower.
Tower Diamond November to 1 Kilo India Papa 15 miles east inbound RNAV runway 27 approach sidestep runway 27 center.
What sidestep runway? What? What is that? Sidestep runway? I've never heard that before. I have some Googling to do. Cleared RNAV 27. Why do you say sidestep runway 27 center? I have no idea what that is. All right, cleared for the RNAV 27 approach. So with the RNAV approaches in Microsoft Flight Sim, they're so iffy that the vertical guidance, like you have no idea if it's accurate or not. Sometimes you don't get the vertical guidance to actually be accurate until you're like a mile from the airport, which is not very helpful. But we'll see how this one goes. If it's an LPV approach, then it should give us like an ILS-like, almost. It's not called a precision approach, but it's basically a precision approach. Okay, it's moving down now. Oh, yep. All right, we captured the glide slope. Cool. We got vertical guidance. It's working. So our GS just turned green on the autopilot, so it's handling our descent by pitching us down to achieve the angle of descent. So I'm just managing the throttle now. So this is an RNAV approach that's called an LPV approach, which means localizer performance with vertical guidance. So it's basically the ILS equivalent of an RNAV approach. It's a in the US we would say it's a WAS approach, which is like the upgraded GPS capabilities. I forget, what is it called in Europe? It's something else. I'm looking it up right now. Oh, Gagan or whatever. Oh no, sorry, that's not it. That's the Indian one. What's the European one? In Europe, European EGNOS, EGNOS, EGNOS. So that's the European equivalent of WAS. WAS is the WAS is Wide Area Augmentation System, which is the United States, but different countries and area and continents have their own. So Europe's is called EGNOS, EGNOS, the European Geostationary Navigation Overlay Service, but they're similar in that they're basically upgraded GPS, and those are what give us these new approach types, LPV and LP, which are equivalent to ILS and localizer approaches, respectively. So this is giving us an LPV approach. So it's just like an ILS, basically. We capture the glide slope just like this, except it's magenta because we're using GPS instead of it being green if we were using an ILS with a G1000. So yeah, cool. So we just slow down and just, what was that ding? Okay, we got low fuel on both, which is fine. We're still at a quarter tank on each side. Turn our fuel pumps on for landing. I know that's a procedure in most planes. It's a procedure to turn your fuel pumps on for landing and have rich mixture like the Cessnas and the Pipers, but I don't know if that's a procedure in the Diamond, but I'm just going to assume that it is. And I was doing the RNAV approach on this because the last few flights we did in Europe, these last few today, were very cloudy. So I was like, all right, we're gonna need an IFR approach here. But we can see the runway easily already. A while ago we could see it.
Diamond Kilo India Papa 269er at 1 tree. Clear to land runway
13 knot
27
headwind, a little to the right. Clear to land.
Clear to land runway
Clear to
27 center
land.
Diamond Kilo India Papa.
And we can see the PAPI lights, one white. Somebody in the comment section of one of the videos pointed out that the angle of descent that's represented with those PAPI lights is not necessarily the same as the angle of descent that you're doing for the approach procedure. So you're not necessarily going to have 2 white and 2 red on the PAPI lights as you're coming in. I didn't look into it too much more, but that person was saying that it's usually published on the approach chart, so it'll say that there's a variation between the PAPI lights and the instrument approach, if there is one. So it's not, I guess it's not unrealistic that the PAPI lights are off compared to this approach. So even though there's one, instead of 2 whites, there's 1 white and 3 red, instead of 2 whites and 2 red, which is where you want it. So I guess that can happen in real life, according to what he said. All right, I'm slowing down here. How far out are we? Yep, 2.8 miles. So we have fixed gear, so the gear is always down. We're gonna slow down to our flap range, get our full flaps in. I can do 1 notch of flaps already. I can do 2 now that we're in the white arc. I'm just letting the autopilot trim us out. So when we turn it off, it's just going to be all set up for the approach already, basically. All right. It's going to put the 2nd notch down now. 1.7 miles. Obviously, we see the runway. I don't know what's up with the multiple runways. Oh, okay, do they have 3 parallel runways? There's like a dirt strip, a concrete one, or asphalt, sorry, or whatever type of surface it is, and then like another, is there like a grass one over there? All right, I'm turning off autopilot because we are way too low. So this is a problem with the approaches. This is a problem with the RNAV approaches as well. Like, we got the vertical guidance, but you can see it was bringing us down way too low too soon. So there's some problems there still. The ILS approaches are still like very reliable. in Microsoft Flight Sim, but the RNAV approaches not so much. So you can see on the Pappies we are 4 reds, so we're way too low. Yeah, that was just bringing us in way too low. And it's interesting because the glide slope, you can still see the little magenta diamond there, is still above us. So I don't know if just the autopilot was bugged out, or... I'm not sure if the autopilot was bugged out, or if the approach itself, like the vertical guidance, was bugged out. Because the diamond looks correct. And the Pappies are... They should be... I don't know, I feel like I'm too high now, but the Pappies are all red. Something's going on.
Diamond Kilo India Papa contact ground on 122.5.
Anyway, yeah, that's the downside to the RNAV approaches, is there's still... You still can't really trust them, which is why I still don't have a video on RNAV approaches. I'm gonna wait until they're good before I make a video that's like, hey, use the RNAV approaches, everyone. Here's how to find... Instead, the video would be, hey guys, here's a bunch of approaches that pretty much never work. And it'd be like, oh great, thanks a lot. Appreciate that. Whoa, what's that bump? Thanks a lot for telling me to use the RNAV approaches that drive me into the ground like half a mile too soon.
Diamond Kilo India Papa, did you copy?
Yes, sir.
122.5 Diamond Kilo India Papa. Ground Diamond November to 1 Kilo India Papa, request taxi to parking.
All right. Get our landing lights off.
Diamond November to 1 Kilo India Papa taxi to general aviation parking via taxiway Alpha.
Taxi
They must have turned off the taxi
Alpha,
ribbon.
Kilo India Papa.
Did I turn it off? Uh-oh. Is this general aviation parking? It's an empty parking lot. Let's just, looks a little shady. Let's go park here. What is this? Wow, this is a car parking lot. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, the wings. Oh. Let's unload the cargo before I wreck this plane. All right. Here we go. Deliver the gas generators. All right, now let's see if I can make this into this car parking lot. I have damage on. Oh! Excellent. Just gonna park here next to this beautiful area. Call it an evening. Reverse. We got no reverse in this thing. Well, what is this? This parking lot is so weird. What is going on? This place is creepy, man. Uh-oh, am I gonna hit my wing on that? Oh, God. Okay, we're good. This parking lot is... It's gonna be a runway almost. Look at this place. I just love all the weird jagged rock things. They're just always so funny looking. Like, what is going on with this terrain, man? I'd rather it just be flat than it do whatever it's trying to do with the terrain. Now I'm just sightseeing. I wouldn't even park my car there. Yeah, this is sketchy. Is a building up here? They do some shady stuff at this building. I've never heard the ATC say that sidestep runway thing. Does that say gas house? What does that say? It's so weird. I don't know why I want to look at this stuff. It's just interesting. Oh, there's like graffiti on that building. Alrighty, that's enough for today. Woo, GG's. All right, that was fun. Well, I'm glad I got the stream going and fixed those problems I was having earlier. I did delete that first 1 hour stream because it was just me dealing with technical problems, but it looks like that's all fixed now. But we did a good 4 flights or so, I think, so that's fine. 2.5 hours on the second stream, not counting that first hour that was kind of lost. But thanks for hanging out, everyone. Next time I'll be on might be... I'm usually on the weekends, but sometimes I'll do a Thursday if there's anything exciting that happens on the Thursday marketplace update. Fingers crossed we get some kind of Piper or some other cool trainer. I just want more trainer aircraft in there, you know. I love the 172, but I want a Piper version of that. I want a Warrior. So I'm eagerly awaiting that. I know Just Flight is supposedly working on one, so I'm pretty stoked for that. But I'm gonna go get some food, and because I haven't eaten since breakfast, so I'm gonna do that, and then probably fly a little bit more off stream. So thanks for hanging out, guys. I will see you in the next stream or the next video. Have a good night or day wherever you are, and thanks for tuning in and chatting. Watch out for the Leatherface. I'll see you guys next time. Have a good one. Bye.